So there's really not much water left here. They are in desperate need for this water to come all the way down through the delta. But you may also find that they might start heading up towards where the water is coming from, just like the zebra and other animals are starting to migrate up that way. Hello, it is yet again time for another safari, and today Baden and I are planning to actually head out to an area that's a little bit further away from the lodge and see if we can catch up with the Xudum Pride. So cross your fingers and wish us luck. We just had a call over the radio to say that there are some lions heading towards a nearby water source. It's the Xudum Pride. It's exactly the lions we were looking for. And it looks like they must have had a meal this morning. If you look at some of their faces, can you see how it's a little bit red, especially around the mouth and actually all the way up the sides of their head? I'm not sure exactly what they ate, but not all of them have red around their face, so maybe it was just something small that they managed to catch, and now they've come down to the water just to wash down whatever they ate. But I'm not so sure there's enough water for all these lions. You can even see some of them actually digging the sand away, trying to let in some more water into this hole. This is pretty much their only option until the delta actually starts to flood and water starts to come in. You can even see one of the youngsters is actually lying in the wet sand that's been dug up by some of the others, just to try and cool off a bit. But I think these lions might start heading towards some nearby shade. A little bit of an argument there. That poor youngster just wanted a little sip of water, and the older male was just not having it. But I suppose when resources are low, you kind of have to fend for yourself out here. And in lion society, I mean, that's pretty typical for the older youngsters to dominate over the younger ones. Well, they're all starting to peel off one by one, slowly but surely. These three are really wanting to get some water. And you can imagine, I mean, it's quite hot out here. So I don't blame them for wanting to get every drop that they can. And because of the lack of water in the delta, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, these lions are really susceptible to things like dehydration. So if they don't catch a lot of things during the dry season, they're not going to be getting enough moisture. Often when they do catch things, the blood from those animals actually helps with the dehydration part of things. But if they're only catching little things like warthogs and maybe the odd impala, that is not going to go far between a pride this big. Look how she's trying so hard to get towards that water. But I think the land is so dry, it's just sinking straight back into the ground. So she'll have to just rely on that cool soil up on her legs and on her belly.
So just to give you an idea of what these lions were working with, you can see the little butterflies are starting to come in now that they've gone. But you can actually see just the tiny pools of water that are forming in their tracks. And that's all they were drinking from, between the 12 of them. So there's really not much water left here. They are in desperate need for this water to come all the way down through the delta. But you may also find that they might start heading up towards where the water is coming from, just like the zebra and other animals are starting to migrate up that way.
And as I suspected, they've all ended up in the shade. Of course, in typical lion fashion, all piled on top of one another. So I wonder if the shade actually, well, I mean, it must help them, obviously. But I wonder if it does much good when they're all piled on top of each other and absorbing each other's body heat. Because I still feel like that's counterproductive in this heat. If indeed they have had something small this morning, which we suspect, considering earlier we noticed that not all of the lions had blood on their faces, there is a possibility that they might be looking for hunting opportunities throughout the day, in which case they've got a great vantage point and they're hidden in the shade of this tree.
I think it'll be best if we leave these lions be and actually come back when it's a little bit cooler this afternoon, because we might have a better chance of them becoming a bit more active. For now, it doesn't look like they're going anywhere.
Barden spotted these elephants and it actually looks like they're having a bit of a territorial battle. Now, territorial may be the wrong word. Elephants don't hold territories, but these bulls are potentially in one of their must cycles, which basically means their testosterone levels are super, super high. And there's possibly a herd in the area where they have smelt a female coming into estrus, or in other words, getting ready to breed. And so they've come across each other in pursuit of that herd, and now it's time to battle it out to see who actually is the strongest and maybe more worthy of obtaining those breeding rights. It certainly seems like the bull on the right-hand side has the upper hand, because the bull on the left is the one that keeps getting pushed further and further back, and he's not really making too many advances. It seems like he's more on the defense. Look at that shove! Oh, weird, the amount of power behind these animals. It's just incredible. I definitely wouldn't want to be either one of these elephants, to be fair. I would not win in this battle. But in between there's also a lot of small shoving, kind of like pushing to and from, but not intently, almost like they're building and building and building until one of them decides to give that really big shove and show the other one what he's made of. We have no way of knowing how long these elephants have been going at this for. It could still continue for a few hours, but it looks like we're not going to get to see exactly what happens because they're pushing each other into the thickets there. But once they disappear, then we can turn our focus back to our mission, which was actually to see if we could follow the Xudum Pride a little bit this evening and see what they get up to. After a long drive back in the direction of where we left the lions, you saw they were still on exactly the same mound where we left them this morning, and it looks like they're up. This is crazy beautiful, with the scenery and the sun setting behind them. It does seem like a couple of the lionesses have spotted something out on the floodplain, and it looks like these lions are heading straight in that direction, so maybe we'll get a chance to see what they were looking at. Often on the floodplains there's warthogs foraging around at this time of the day, just before the sun set and before they have to get back to their burrows to safety. But we suspected this morning that they ate something very small, and judging by the size of their bellies, I think we're correct in saying that. And so it's not unlikely that they might look for something to hunt this evening. A little bit of family bonding going on there. Just greeting each other, making sure everyone's good to go. Oh, they're going to come right towards the vehicle. No way. They were so close. Oh, my heart is pounding. In the best way possible, I might add. All the lionesses are lining up. They're all staring at something. I didn't see anything that way. But I can also hear some baboons shouting in the background, so I think these lions have definitely not gone unnoticed, which may not work in their favor if they have spotted something that they wanted to hunt. Well, they are on the move again, but they are being a bit slinky, if I can put it that way. They're not walking like they normally would with purpose and as though they're on a mission. They're kind of skulking around in the long grass and trying to walk a bit slower and almost more quietly, it seems. So they must have spotted something. I just don't know what. Look at how all of them have stopped to scan the floodplain. Well, whatever they spotted, it must have disappeared because they are just continuing on. But look at how gorgeous this light is. Oh my gosh. I can't believe the color of the sky right now. I mean, I can't fathom. My brain is not computing right now what I'm looking at. There are 12 lions surrounding us with this fabulous sun setting in the background, turning everything gold where the light touches it. It is just... I feel like I'm in a dream.
It has been quite a long time we have seen these lions. So it's nice to catch up with them.
I have a feeling that the water coming in might pose a problem in the future, and especially if it comes down onto this floodplain.
Definitely, it's very interesting if we can see these lions stay on this side of the water. So let us keep our finger crossed.